Well, I am somewhat familiar with BodyWise. I've probably looked at every or almost every ingredient panel on every product you sell, and I've read the basics on your site, and so I like to be at least somewhat familiar with who I'm talking with and what we're up to for sure. Yeah, it seems like you folks are doing great business.
Well, we're about science, and that's kind of separates us a lot of times from a lot of companies simply because it's all about what makes sense, physiologically, et cetera. So that's kind of been our focus I've been with the company since November of '89. So I kind of was at the beginning. And I haven't budged because quality has always been at the forefront of this company, and it still is, and I'll be there until it isn't.
Well, it seems like we have a pretty good fit then. That should be an easy conversation.
Lovely ladies joining us from KSM-66. I'm not sure exactly who we have here. Perhaps you could introduce yourselves.
Yes, sure. Hi, hello everyone.
Hello.
This is Apurva. I'm Business Development Manager at KSM-66, and it's my pleasure to have you all in this call. And we really look forward and really excited for this call.
Thank you, Apurva.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. This is Divya from the BD team as well. It's nice to have you all here.
I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, and thank you for resending that information to me, Divya. Otherwise, I'd be clawing at my computer screen.
No problem at all, Chris.
All right.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome. We're being joined now by Bill Farley,
Hi, Bill.
CEO.
Hi, Chris.
How are you today?
I'm great. Where are you?
Massachusetts, but I know I look like in the mountains of Thailand because I cheated. I have a photograph behind me.
I know exactly where you are in Massachusetts. It's a place called Amherst, right?
Yeah. Actually, right beside Amherst, in a somewhat sleepier little town called Leverett. But basically, I mean, I can bicycle to Amherst in 10 minutes if I need to. Sure.
I know. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about Amherst in a second, but I'll let Jean-Paul start us.
Okay.
Well, welcome everyone to the call. We're so pleased.
And Prasanti's here too. Hi, Prasanti.
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Hi.
No, please go ahead, Jean-Paul.
Great, fantastic. We're joined by a host of wonderful people. Perhaps we could just do a quick run through with, we have, of course, Chris Kilham, our main speaker today, and we also have various people from KSM-66 who I believe they're here as well to answer any questions, and they have a long history on producing the KSM-66 Ashwagandha to really the highest standards in the world today. And now I'll go back to Bill Farley, our CEO.
Well, first of all, welcome everyone, and a big welcome to Chris and his colleagues in India. Chris, I'm just delighted. I honestly, you and I have touched base in many ways without you knowing it and without me knowing it. Now, let me give you a little background.
That sounds terribly mysterious, Bill.
Okay, we'll get through it. All right, number one, I was born in the Boston area, and one of the best TV and radio stations in America is WBZ, and I know about your family background with WBZ. Now, not only, right, so I grew up in Rhode Island. I went to a little college in Maine called Bowdoin, which played against Amherst all the time. So I spent a lot of time in Amherst at, not UMass specifically, but that little other school called Amherst. I know you've done a lot of work with the schools, Smith and Holyoke and all that in that area. So that's another thing. Now, we both have had a lifelong interest in health and nutrition. You more intensely than me, but I've still been very interested in it because I've owned a bunch of companies in this area. And another guy that I met 39 years ago, you're very friendly with, for reasons of your interest in the plant world and health and nutrition and yoga and meditation. and that's a guy named Deepak Chopra.
Oh, sure. Yeah, actually, when I was a host on Fox, I interviewed Deepak. We had a great time.
Right. Yeah.
Lovely guy.
I met him, Chris. I met him 39 years ago with a guy named Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah.
And a guy named Ken Blanchard that wrote the 1 Minute Manager. I met them all on the same day, and anyway, blah blah blah. So I've known Deepak forever, and a great guy. And then, of course, I noticed you've been on TV all the time with Dr. Oz, who's a great, I don't know Oz per se, but you had some great interviews and meetings and shows with Dr. Oz as well.
Yeah, at the peak of that show, when it was really doing very well, I was fortunate to appear on 15 different occasions. And Oz and I had a very good rhythm together. I found him open-minded and fun and friendly.
Yeah.
And I have to say, of all of the television productions that I've known, because I've done about 500 shows, it was without question the absolute tops. It was just an amazing experience to be part of it. And I know he's moved on to politics, and that's fine. I think the show ran its course, but it certainly was a wonderful time those years.
Yeah, well, a big factor behind the show was a woman here in Chicago who is also a good friend of mine. Her first name is Oprah. Most people know her last name. I was just with her. I was just with her long-standing boyfriend about 2 weeks ago, who received an award, and I had received the same award. But anyway, all this background, and I thought, gosh, what an amazing guy! I'm just delighted you're here today. I'm excited.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm excited to listen to what you have to say, and I'm going to turn this over to one of our leading distributor who knows so much more about these products than I do. But he is supposed to be introducing you, even though I kind of gave and stole a lot of the background. So Steve Hughes, let me turn it over to you to talk with Chris.
Well, thank you, Bill. And you did a great job, by the way. It made my job a little easier here. That's no question. It's interesting, the number 15, you're talking about 15. Well, Chris, first of all, I want to welcome you and your colleagues to our call. Really appreciate your time. I know you're the author. They said to me about 15 books. I'm sorry I haven't read them all, but
I haven't either.
Obviously, an educator, and I know you travel the world, learning about healing traditions and studying plants and the amazing health benefits of those. And one of your favorite compounds is KSM-66 Ashwagandha. Hopefully I didn't destroy that, the name of the herb, too bad, which is, of course, is in our Right Choice AM formula, and may soon be in another new product that we're bringing forth. So first of all, without any further ado, I want to thank you for your time, and we want to hear more and more about ashwagandha.
All right. Well, I'll be happy to kind of take off on that and appreciate it. And if I have any slight little technical difficulties when I share the screen, just help me out with that. But basically, ashwagandha, which some people refer to as the king of herbs, certainly in India, has played a key role in the 5,000-year-old system of Ayurveda, which you probably know is the world's oldest well-articulated healthcare system. There are other healing modalities and traditions that go back thousands of years, but not written down. So Ayurveda is really the oldest system we have. And ashwagandha is number one in that system, in which about 8,500 or so, maybe 8,200 different plants and parts are used. It's number one, the root. And I got involved with ashwagandha, oddly enough, in 1972. I was 1 year old, and I wasn't 1 year old, but I got involved with it then. I became fascinated by Ayurveda. And subsequent to that time, I've traveled to India about a dozen times or so, most of those times to investigate ashwagandha. And then about 6 or 7 years ago or so, about 6 ago now, I met and spent some time with Kartikeya Baldwa, who runs Ixorial, the company that makes KSM-66 Ashwagandha extract. And I was just concluding a 21-year gig with NatureX at that time. And we wound up working together, and we've been working together ever since. And the different folks on this call also are part of the team of people I work with. They're really the core team of people I work with. So it's great for us all to be on here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. And if things go wonderfully well, we're going to have a wonderful experience. And if things don't go wonderfully well, then we're going to not have a wonderful experience. Let's see what happens with this. Okay. I'm trying to get this to work, and for some reason this is not happening.
Chris, do you want me to share my screen for the presentation, and you can say move to the next slide when you are done?
Yeah, you mean kind of like save my life here? Sure, why not? Yes, that would be an excellent idea. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working for me.
I do. You're less technologically capable than your colleagues.
Oh, come on.
Let's move on. Let's move on, Chris.
Okay. All right. So basically then, just to start out, we're talking about KSM-66 Ashwagandha root extract. And this is a brand that's been out for just a little under 10 years. It now enjoys about 65% of the total global ashwagandha extract market. And the growth has been fueled, and I know this is somewhat music to your ears, primarily by science. This is a very, very science-driven company and product. Next slide, please. So basically, you know, we know a lot about the global supplement market. We know that it's growing hilariously well. And in fact, COVID has actually strangely and sadly been good for the supplement market. Ashwagandha was not a popular botanical. It was certainly known to herbalists and used a little bit in a few brands, but really until KSM-66 came along, it didn't really have its day. As I said, it's got about 65% of the global market share for ashwagandha extract. It's in about 1,600 products right now. It's exported to 51 countries. And just to be clear, all of the distribution of the exporting of KSM-66 happens out of Hyderabad, India. So the company itself, packs and ships and distributes to 51 different countries. And it's backed by 24 double-blind, placebo-controlled human clinical studies to support its efficacy in several different areas that I'll discuss in a moment. And also 41 quality certifications, which I'll get to because that's actually kind of a bit of a remarkable story. So next, please. So this comes out, this company, which is called Ixoreal, Ixoreal, makes KSM-66, and it is part of what's known as the Baldwa Group. Baldwa is a family name, Kartikeya Baldwa, who runs this company. This is his family. His father is quite a remarkable entrepreneur and has industrial interests in food and beverage and chemicals and power and tea estates and jewelry and logistics and a great many things. And many years ago, the family determined that they wanted to run some sort of an enterprise that would be primarily for serving humanity, not really as a profit-making enterprise. They didn't want it to lose money, but they weren't interested in it being a profit generator. They were looking to all of the other very, very highly successful and large entities in the Baldwa Group constellation to do that. So really, KSM-66 was born out of an interest in serving people. Next, please. So ashwagandha is Withania somnifera. Somnifera, if somn looks familiar, that's because it means tend to sleep, referring to somnolence, and we'll get to that a little bit. As I said earlier, it's a flagship herb of Ayurveda. in which 7,500 to about 8,200 or so plants and plant parts are used. It's really number one. So it's kind of at the top of the botanical pyramid in that regard. In Sanskrit, which is where the name derives, it basically means smells like a horse. The idea that when you pull the fresh root, it has a little bit of an aroma like a freshly exercised horse, which certainly doesn't make it into the finished products in any way. It's the root. The root is also reputed in many of the old scriptures to impart the strength of a horse as well. We know that as an adaptogen, this enhances people's capacity to resist physical and chemical and biological and mental stressors of all different kinds. And ashwagandha works on a variety of human body systems, certainly on the nervous system, the immune system, endocrine system, all energy production mechanisms in the body. It actually causes the body to produce more ATP, which is our fundamental kind of cellular gasoline, if you will. So it's a real potent overall kind of vitality enhancing agent with specific benefits for specific body systems. So next, please. So the reason that there has been of late in the past few years, for the first time ever in history, a move on the part of some companies to include aerial parts of the plants in extracts. And this is really an economic thing. I mean, you buy roots from a farmer, it costs 300 rupees a kilo. You buy leaves from a farmer, it costs 2 rupees a kilo, so less than a penny. It is the roots that have been used for 4,000 years. The roots alone contain the unique combination of withanolides and alkaloids and flavanols and chlorogenic acids and other compounds that make up the total reason why ashwagandha root is preferred. Recently, the government of India, somewhat alarmed by this effort to market leaf for internal purposes, which has never been done, put out basically an advisory encouraging companies not to go in that direction. Virtually all of the pharmacopoeias that exist on ashwagandha talk only about the root for any inner consumption. From a regulatory standpoint, it's the root that is approved in the countries where ashwagandha is approved. And it's very clear that in the market, it is ashwagandha root and ashwagandha root extract that are the real popular items relative to this plant for all the right reasons. They're supported by science. Next, please. So this is a very high concentration, full spectrum ashwagandha root extract. It is 5% withanolides, and as you may know, withanolides are steroidal lactones that occur naturally in ashwagandha root, and some in the aerial parts as well. And they can, usually extracts are around 3 or 4% withanolide value. This happens to be 5%. There's no fractionation technology at work, or there's no separating out any active constituents, but it is the novel approach to basically to extraction that has enabled KSM-66 to have such a good concentration of withanolides. And I would like to say that while the withanolides are absolutely very well studied as active constituents in ashwagandha, it is not the case that there is any single agent that is responsible for the root's benefits. It is all of the composition of the root together that provides the benefits for body and mind that are so popular now. And that's the thing about this. I do want to say, just kind of to interrupt myself a little bit, the popularity of ashwagandha over the past few years has been quite remarkable. It's gone from basically an ingredient that most people didn't know or a few companies used to a much sought after ingredient in the natural chain. For the past few years, it's been around number 5 or 6. So it's really soared to the top of the popular botanicals heap. The extraction process, there are basically 2 lines of extraction for KSM-66. One is an extraction process that utilizes milk and water. Milk is what's advised in the thousands of year-old scriptures for extracting the root, basically pulverizing the root and boiling it in fatty buffalo milk. We figure that providing pounded root and fatty buffalo milk for people to prepare themselves is not a big sell. So basically we do it for them. Additionally, for companies that are looking for beverage soluble extract or for vegan purposes where no small residues of milk are wanted in a product, there's also an all water extraction line. And the difference between the two is not in the withanolide value, but in some of the minor lipid and what I want to say, well, basically mostly lipid-based components that are somewhat minor. Otherwise, both of them have the same withanolide spec sheet, if you will. Next, please. So this is, as I said, it's the highest concentration root extract out there. There are 24 human clinical studies, and we will provide you with links to all of those studies. Again, these are double-blind, human, placebo-controlled studies published in peer-reviewed journals. They appear on PubMed. They're the real thing. KSM-66 is the only ashwagandha extract that comes from a vertically integrated system. You know very well that there's a lot of plant misidentification in the market. There's a lot of plant adulteration in the market. American Botanical Council and APA and others have been working very much on the whole issue of misidentification and adulteration. You don't have that when you have a vertically integrated system. From seed to the time the extract goes out the door, KSM-66 is in full control of one and only one entity. So there's certified organic cultivation. There's all of the drying and the washing and the preparation and the extraction and the packing and the endless testing that goes on. And the testing kind of dovetails a little bit with the certifications that I'll also mention a little bit further later. But the company has 41 certifications, and they don't just make pretty wallpaper. As you know, you have to qualify for ISO certifications. You have to qualify for organic certifications. You have to qualify for certifications based on standards, which is why the company has somebody doing an inspection from a third-party entity every 5 days all year long. And there are 5 people in the company devoted exclusively to handling the audits that are constant and never ceasing at the company. From a taste standpoint, KSM-66 is pretty neutral. Kind of tastes a little bit like overbaked graham crackers, just a tiny bit. Blends very well in beverages, goes well in foods, certainly in supplements. It's easy to use in capsules and tablets. It's enjoying a pretty decent lifespan in bars and some powdered food drinks as well. Next slide, please. So the organic cultivation is really key. I mean, it makes no sense at all to produce botanicals that may possibly contain residues of toxic agricultural chemicals. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So the about 1,600 or so acres of farmland in Rajasthan, India, that are dedicated KSM-66 fields, they're certified organic. So you never have to think about residues, even though the company is obliged to repeatedly test for residues as part of the various certifications. This is a super clean product. It doesn't harm the water, the air, the wildlife, the workers. It's entirely safe. Next slide, please. So as I said, it's vertically integrated. All of the organic standards go right through to the end. You know, the company started out with one manufacturing unit. When I was there a couple of weeks ago, I visited the 4th identical manufacturing unit, and a fifth one is currently being built. And to just be clear, this is a one ingredient company. The reception globally to KSM-66 has been marvelous. The integration of the product into various formulas for sleep and stress and athletic performance and mental and cognitive enhancement and sexual function has been really quite gratifying. And so there are actually 4 full-on large-scale manufacturing facilities that make just this extract, and a fifth on the way. The company does all of its testing internally, has excellent laboratories, and also does its own distribution out of Hyderabad. Next slide, please. So here you can see, just very briefly, the distribution of KSM-66 going into 51 different countries, and I assume there will be more as time goes on. Next, please. I'm not going to take you through all these, but as I said before, this isn't just wallpaper. If there is a certification out there that in any manner at all requires the company to do a better job, Kartikeya wants that certification, and he wants to have to qualify for that. So there's NSF certification and GMP certifications, USDA organic, and of course halal and kosher and GMO free, and so many others, and the various ISO certifications. These are things that really help to define, rather than the company just saying so itself, that this product is made by the highest possible standards. I don't believe that there is another company, certainly in our industry, that has even half these quality certifications. So they really do represent a pretty triumphant peak of excellence as far as making this product goes. Next slide, please. So there are many brands, as I said, that's in 1,600 products. Some of them obvious big brands here. There are loads of natural brands and smaller independent brands and beverages and bars and powders and other things that are not included in this slide. But the reception has been very good. And I think one of the things that's been telling is that because of the high clinical science, pharmaceutical companies who, as you know, often have their toe in the water of supplementation are choosing KSM-66 for sleep and for stress because it demonstrates efficacy, and they want to make sure that they never get stung with a product that doesn't conform to what it should and also doesn't deliver the goods. So next, please. So basically, there is a sort of a kind of a division in a way between benefits to the mind and benefits to the body, both of them imparted by the ashwagandha root extract KSM-66. So let's go to that next slide. We're looking at basically, I mean, you can say 4 groups or 5. I usually say 4. Stress reduction, improved sleep. The sleep thing is kind of funny with ashwagandha. You won't get sleepy. You won't get tired. You won't start to yawn after taking this. That's not going to happen. You have plenty of energy to do whatever you need to do. But when you lie down to go to sleep, you'll do what your body's supposed to do. You'll go to sleep. And that's one of the wonders of this. So for reduced stress, we see about 28% reduction in serum cortisol over groups that are tested, which is quite remarkable. And just to be clear, you don't want to eliminate cortisol. If you eliminate cortisol, you die. We need it to live. But we need cortisol in a healthy mid-range, and many people have it in a high range that does them a disservice, that makes them feel stressed and also contributes to poor sleep. From a cognition and focus standpoint, the human studies done on KSM-66 show improved short and long-term memory recall, better executive function, quicker thought formation, and more. So this is really something that has a significant effect on mental clarity. And certainly as people age, we know that there can be some cognitive decline. It's typical and common, and this can help to stem some of that. From an endurance, strength, and immunity standpoint, We see in studies of strength, we see improved endurance, we see improved physical strength, we see improved muscle mass, we see slight reduction in BMI, and we see, better stamina, a quicker recovery time after exertion. And we also see improvement in the promotion of a variety of immune factors in the body. And lastly, from a sexual health standpoint, for which ashwagandha is very, very well known, we see improvements with both men and women in overall sexual health and function. In men, we see improved sperm production and motility. In women, we see a variety of sexual benefits, overall healthier reproductive function, and a variety of sexual parameters, lubrication, comfort, etc., significantly improved as a result of taking KSM-66. So these categories basically cover the main benefits of ashwagandha root and of KSM-66 specifically, and are also categories that you can expect the company to continue to invest in from a scientific studies standpoint. Next one, please. So here we see basically what I said before: dietary supplements, foods and beverages, sports nutrition. We're going to see more emerging for personal care in terms of topical applications. We've got a couple of studies in the works for that. Interestingly, we've got, I think it's either 4 or 5 now, pet health studies with horses, dogs, and cats, all showing improved behavior, decreased nervousness, reduced stress, and reduced stress behaviors as a result of taking KSM-66 on a regular basis. So the constellation of applications is really very good. Next, please. So basically, one of the things that we're doing as part of the whole program around KSM-66 is doing what we can to educate the industry. We know that the industry isn't as educated about ashwagandha as it is, say, about echinacea or peppermint or things that have been popular longer. So the ashwagandha advantage, insights, experience, and performance are different programs that we've run with different natural trade media to educate people about ashwagandha and specifically about KSM-66 from the time the seed goes into the ground to the time that the fully packaged extract is ready to ship. Next, please. Now, here's a timeline of scientific studies. And by the way, you will receive a PowerPoint presentation that includes all of these slides, plus a group of slides that go into more detail about these studies and also give you study links. But you can see the first study was a stress and anxiety study in 2012. We just had another successful canine study, also for stress, but in between, fertility and testosterone, muscle strength and recovery, memory and cognition. We see increased telomere length as a result of application of KSM-66. And I don't really know that spells longer life, but it's something that scientific people are interested in. Improved sleep, reduced anxiety. We put a question in one of the human studies, because much of what happens is that people answer things like the Hamilton Anxiety Index or other questionnaire studies. We put in something about happiness. And surprisingly, better than half the people who were in one studies expressed that they felt happier overall as a result of consuming KSM-66 extract on a daily basis. Next slide, please. So one of the things is that this is a remarkably sustainable product. And sustainability doesn't mean that as you know, doesn't mean that you reduce your water usage by 10%. That's nice. But it's really a whole package that covers the entire arc of the chain of trade. The people who work on KSM-66 in the fields earn on average between 10 and 20% more than they could with other agricultural efforts. The local community is supported very heavily by the company. One of the major schools is significantly funded by the company. KSM-66 also started a hospital with some co-funding by the Indian government. The company helps women to start their own businesses that don't have anything to do with ashwagandha at all. And there are other initiatives, either related to health, education, or overall welfare, that the company invests in. So in terms of the certified organic component, that helps to keep a sustainable environment. In terms of the wage and community benefits practices, that helps to ensure that people in the community thrive just as the company does. And the more dollars that are accrued as a result of revenues from the sale of KSM-66, the more goes into the community. I was just at a hospital that KSM-66 built, and they had vaccinated 20,000 people for COVID in that small community. And we're seeing 80 patients a day just out of this little hospital. So a tremendous contribution being made. And of course, at the other end of sustainability, there's the fact that the product works, as I've been outlining by describing some of the studies. Next, please. So basically, what I'd like to do now is not only thank you for listening to this, but I'd like to take your questions. Let's get out of the slides and see if we can help to meet your needs as well as possible.
I've got a whole pile of questions. I've got some copious notes here. I just was taking a lot. I am so glad that number one, this has been recorded. Number two, that these studies are available. I'm extremely interested in the cognitive studies. We have a healthcare professional that specializes in brain chemistry, and this will be something, if he doesn't know about it, I can't believe he won't know about it, but I think you'll find this beyond interesting. So access to that, and I'm gonna not be greedy and grab the floor here and ask all my questions.
Was I just that thorough?
No, I have a question. I was polite and I waited, so I have a bunch of them here actually. I'm really interested. I know you said that you're organic and etc. I'm really interested in the two extraction processes as far as milk versus water. Given a choice, what would be the best? From a performance perspective, what would be the best option?
Well, look, you're going to have a small amount of additional fat-soluble items in greater concentration in the milk and water extract. The withanolide value remains the same in both of them. If it were up to me, I mean, I take the so-called traditional extract, the milk and water extract.
So you have your own buffalo, huh?
You know, I try to keep a couple out back. They get cold in the winter. You know, it's as you may know, buffalo milk is the international standard for milk nutrition because of its high level of protein and high level of fat. And it has long been recommended for extracting things like ashwagandha and turmeric root, both of which contain active constituents that are fatty or resinous. So you would get a slight increase in some of the fatty and resinous substances with the milk and water extract, while the withanolide value between both of them would remain the same. So I'd go for the former.
Okay. Can I just follow up with another one real quick? I'm confused over the sleep aspect. As I understand this is an adaptogen and gives you energy. So I was thinking that's really interesting that you would take a product that actually can help you like in the gym, but also can help you with sleep. I think that's fascinating.
It's actually a kind of a simple explanation, though, really. High levels of stress hormones in the blood keep people nervous and awake. So they'll lie awake at night instead of going to sleep. They may wake up several times at night. They may wake up and not get to sleep. They may have fitful sleep. They may wake up feeling that they're not rested. And when you bring those stress hormones down, then two things happen. One, you get more energy, so more vitality to go out and do what you need to do, whether it's stacking wood or, whatever, driving the kids to soccer or working a long workday or whatever it is. You will have more energy as a result of being less bound up by stress. But it also means that your body will naturally be able to do the things that all animals, including the human animals, should be able to do with great ease: lie down and go to sleep. Take ashwagandha day and night. You won't feel drowsy. You won't feel sleepy, but you'll lie down and you'll go to sleep.
I'll jump in for a second, Jean-Paul, if I may. I know some other people may want to jump in, but I'm wondering, it just sounds like one of those. Of course, I was familiar with Deepak, with Ayurveda, and, Tulsi and Amalaki and various other. I was less familiar with ashwagandha, but here's my question. It sounds like an incredible product as it's grown and processed by the company. How do you know how much you should be having? I mean, we put X amount in our AM Right Choice product, but how much should one be taking? Is there any study about this too much? Is not enough?
Yeah, that's why we have the human clinical studies, 24 of them. 600 milligrams of KSM-66 ashwagandha extract per day, typically divided into 2 doses, 300 and 300, accomplishes absolutely everything that's described in all the studies. So if you want the full benefits as described in the studies and want to be able to use that science to back up the efficacy of the product, then 600 milligrams is the way to go.
Okay, good. Definitive.
Yeah, no, it's very simple. There's one study showing some reduced stress with 250 milligrams. But basically, that's not what we're recommending. Everything else is based on 600 milligrams a day. With animals, it's based on a proportionate ratio of body weight, but we're not talking animals right here.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Can I follow up with Bill's question, if you don't mind? Is there a maximum you should take? In other words, or do you just slough it off anything over 600? Or because if we put this in a few different products, possibly the accumulation, a lot of us take a lot of our products. So would it be wasting our time taking more than 600, or is there a danger of taking more than 600?
We know of no toxic dose of ashwagandha. This is one of those things you can't do a successful LD50 with. You just can't kill animals with this stuff, which is good, actually. But we've seen, I don't know if you're familiar with the Rebel beverages. They're very popular, ready-to-drink beverages. They have a turmeric and a chai and a chocolate, and they put 1,200 milligrams of KSM-66 in every single bottle of their RTD beverages. So we know at least that regular consumption of twice as much as the clinical amount used in the KSM-66 studies is no problem. I've never been able to find any indication of a too much. Is there a dosage beyond which you're simply not going to get any more beverages? I mean, benefits? Yeah, probably, but we don't know what that is.
Okay, thank you.
But we do know that it hits all of the markers and hits all of the benefits that you'd want in the studies that we've done with the 600 milligrams.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, last call for any questions from the field.
Hi, this is Janelle.
Hi, Janelle.
Hi, good to see you all. I don't get on here much, and I just happened to catch this. I love the way you explain everything. That was awesome. And I know you. It was said that it's in our AMPMs. Is it also in our AG Immune or any other products? I really like what I heard.
No, it's currently in the Right Choice AM right now, and we do have plans to include it in an upgrade. We're looking at upgrading Supercell to include KSM-66 at the 600 gram level.
Wonderful.
I'd like to make a one more comment here, and this may perhaps be the most important one of all. This is something you experience. If you take ginkgo, for example, there's little likelihood that you're going to say to yourself, wow, I can feel that increased microvascular circulation in my inner ears. It's just not likely. We know ginkgo works. If you take milk thistle, you're probably not going to say, wow, you know, I can feel those bilirubins and biliverdins changing in production. That's crazy talk, okay? Many of the herbs we take, we don't actually experience. That rare class of herbs, the adaptogens, so Panax ginseng, Eleuthero, Rhodiola rosea, Ashwagandha, Schizandra, and very few others you actually experience. In the case of KSM-66 Ashwagandha, if you take it, you feel it. And that is a fundamental difference. You know, it generally makes people feel good, more freely available energy, less stressed out, better sleep, better sex life, better mental clarity. And these are things that you feel as you move through the day. So what I like best about this, and yes, I love that it's organic, of course. I love the vertical integration. The human studies are phenomenal. I love that you feel this. If our goal as people working with health and as people working with others who want to achieve a more optimal condition is to help make that happen, then providing a positive health experience that people can enjoy and really identify seems like a wonderful and worthy thing. And this delivers that.
Well, my closing thought was, you know, first of all, a huge thank you to the whole group, the colleagues that support Ashwagandha, KSM, and 66 and the presentation. Obviously, Chris, you've done this before, and it was really well done. I mean,
thank you.
And I got to tell you, I'm just excited about this. I'm more excited. You know, I've always been into Ayurveda because of Deepak 39 years ago, right? But you know, when I hear you make this presentation as a non-Indian, so to speak, I mean, it creates even additional belief in the product. And I'm thinking, how do I get more ashwagandha? How do I go and get more ashwagandha? By the way, I wasn't familiar with Rebel. So, and I've been involved in RTDs in one of my businesses, but I wasn't familiar with Rebel. So I'm going to go check that out also.
That you'll find them in cold cases. They do a real, I would have to say that Rebel does as good a job of flavoring as any entity out there in any sector anywhere. Their flavors are amazing. And you'd be very hard pressed to tell that there's ashwagandha in there. I mean, fortunately, we know there is, but from a flavor standpoint, it pretty much disappears. But from a little bit of a middle afternoon boost standpoint, it delivers. It's good stuff.
All right, I better not get too into Rebel because I am supposed to be promoting BodyWise. But listen, again, I really want to thank you. We've got this background, and I appreciate all that you've done and all you're doing. And again, I've traveled to India myself on various occasions, including as a special guest of Deepak in Kerala. We did a 1 week kind of retreat, you know. It's all very, it was wonderful. So thank you so much. I mean, this has been a great review and a great presentation, and we're even more convinced about the qualities of ashwagandha and using them in additional products for BodyWise. So Again, thank you.
Well, thank you. And Apurva and Divya and Prasanthi, who are on the call here, are phenomenal resources for you for whatever you need. I know that they've been in touch with you and with other folks in your company. If I can be helpful to you in any way, I'm happy to make more presentations, whatever it takes. This is something that I didn't have to do this engagement, frankly, but I really love it because it satisfies so many things that I believe in. So I'm delighted to be part of it, and I make myself available to you for whatever purposes you need.
Thanks so much. It's clear, not only are you knowledgeable, but you have the passion to be doing so. That's what drives it, I can see. And by the way, I always look at, I know your age and I know my age, and I'm thinking, this guy's looking pretty good, man. This guy's looking pretty good. So he's doing it. No, you look great, and I think you're a product of the product, so to speak, as we say. So
thanks
again,
very much. That's kind.
Thanks so much, Chris. Great to be with you. Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have yourself a great day. Bye now.
Thank
you.